Okay, so if you'd like to just put in the chat, just say who you are and where you're based, that would be great, so that we have it'd be interesting to hear what you do. So Steve has already said that in the chat, but I'm just saying that as well. So, but if you could just introduce yourselves and say who you are, and if you have any questions or comments as you go through, I will follow through on those comments. I will be looking at the chat as Mouhamadou kind of concentrates on what he's saying. I mean, obviously he'll look as well. I mean, I guess you all know how this works anyway. And then it's an interactive session. So we imagine that there might be some time at the end for questions, but if not, we can always deal with questions on the group. So don't forget about the group, the Telegram group that we run, and obviously that's an opportunity to follow things up if you want to. So this evening we're looking at environmental issues in language classes. This is the topic of the moment for the British Council. So for people who are not familiar, we've already had a couple of sessions, sort of generic sessions that have been offered by the British Council. And we've had a discussion in the Telegram group. We had a couple of discussions, in fact, introducing ideas, talking about sort of specifics of ways of doing activities, and some really nice examples of people doing activities. And there is a course, so there's an ongoing, the British Council refer to it as a MOOC, an online training course that everybody can join in. And next week on the Monday evening, when we have our discussion, I will have looked at the material as well, and if people want to come along and we can raise things, and perhaps Mouhamadou might be able to make it to that session on the Monday evening, and he can sort of do follow-up questions and discuss things as well. So that's the plan. So essentially, I'm going to pass over to Mouhamadou. Mouhamadou, if you just want to tell me if you want me to push slides forward, I will try and guess when you want me to move. But if I don't guess right, then prompt me. Okay.
I will tell you.
Yeah. All right. So there you go.
Thank you, Gary, for what you said, and good afternoon, everyone from everywhere. Because I can see that I have people coming from everywhere in Africa mainly. So my name is Mouhamadou Bamba Diop from, as you can see in the first slide, from Senegal, an EFL teacher, and I have been teaching for now 18 years. And as you can read, I am a former teacher trainer, an EFL teacher, an English teacher supervisor, and active member of everything going on about English. So thank you, British Council, for giving me the opportunity to be able to do this webinar and share something about environment with many teachers coming around Africa, and this is a great pleasure for me to do that. So today we're gonna share about environment. I have something that I have brought for you all along these slides, and we'll have discussions, we'll share, and then as teachers, I think we'll be able at the end of the webinar to be able to bring environment inside the classroom, to be able to prepare our students to take actions and be environmentalist, and be able to share and learn more about environment from you teachers. So thank you so much, Gary. And we're gonna move now to like the first slides, where I will be talking about first about my Vilnius hazard environment, because the reason why I have tried to share with you this environmental lesson plan is I just wanted to share a bit about my my experience as someone who lost environments, and it started where the place where I taught for the first time. It was like around 2012 and 2005 to 2012. I was in the north of Senegal. It was a little bit very dry over there and very hot. And there we needed to have trees, to be at least to have shelter. So that's where my journey about environment started. And through these slides, I will tell you more about that, and you will even I will even show you pictures of the place right now from 2012 to 2022. You'll see the change that the trees have brought to that place. So not to wait any longer, I have a slide here. And just to tell you, so along the slides, I'll be at the same time sharing a lesson plan about how to bring environment in the classroom. But if you follow me very well, this will be just a kind of practical webinar where at the end you can follow the same steps to be able to teach environmental issues to your students. So we can start with a small picture like this one I have brought for you. And I will start asking you about something you already know from something maybe you don't know yet, as if you were students. Allow me to take as students because I wanted things to be very practical. So I will be just asking you questions, and it will be you will be able to share your thoughts. It's open. What can you see in the image? It's a very simple question that any one of you can answer. So the floor is yours. What can you see in the pictures? Our simple question.
So you can either share your thoughts in the chat, or if people want to put their hands up, then we can unmute people. But basically, to get a maximum response, if people share their ideas in the chat.
Yeah, I think that would be better.
So we have one person with a hand up. Shall we allow them to speak? Mouhamadou, I can ask them to unmute.
Yeah, do that. You want to speak?
So Techno, come on. I don't know. Obviously, there's a name behind there somewhere, but I don't know what what your name is.
Yeah.
Would you like to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I'm Gisson Frank from Cote d'Ivoire.
Okay.
In the image, I can see the planet Earth, which is, yes, I can see the Earth,
okay,
which seems to be divided in two.
Mm-hmm.
There is a green part
Mm-hmm.
and a dark part.
Yep.
I can see the continents
Mm-hmm.
on the green side.
Mm-hmm.
On the dark side, I can see something like pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there is a tree on the top of the image.
Mm-hmm.
One side seems to be frozen.
Okay.
And one side seems to be green.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is what I can say.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I can see some people sharing the globe. Yeah. Trees with two shades of color. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So do you want any other speakers? There are some more people who are. Shall I ask Zacharias to unmute?
Yeah, Zacharias, go on.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Gary and Mohammed.
Thank you, Zacharias.
Yeah, I think as my previous friend said, I see in the picture is a map or the map or the globe of Earth. And I can see very boldly three different colors: the green, somehow the yellow, and the dark. This globe is dissected into two, where in the left side you see more green and more of something that attracts someone to see or observe.
Okay.
On the other side, you see part of darkness and some plants which is also root up or tilted in the down part of them. And also I see some water bodies surrounding in the left side of the diagram or the globe.
Okay.
That is consisting of some neat water or ocean. And also you see some particles or kind of things that are dropped in the surrounding, which might be an indication for people's or human activities that affect the environment. So I can say a lot, but that's what I see. Thank you.
Thank you, Zakaria, for sharing. Appreciate it. Okay.
So we may need to stop there, Mouhamadou, or
Yeah,
else
because
we
we
might
have,
run
yeah.
out of time. So
Yeah,
thank you, everybody,
yeah.
for putting their hands up. Put your comments into the group.
chat. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. And at this stage, as you can see, there is no correct answer. So you teachers, you might see very complex things behind the picture, but your students will probably say something like trees, house, factories, some simple things. And that's what we need, because you'll be teaching them small vocabulary and very simple vocabulary. Now we move to the most complex question, which is what environmental issues can you see in the picture? If you have any thought about that question, what environmental issues? Now we coming from the most difficult, easiest to the most difficult now. What environmental issues can you see in the picture?
So shall I ask Babai to unmute? Yeah.
Yeah, Babai.
So Babai, would you like to say something?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. The issue I see there is basically pollution, which is occasioned by waste disposal, especially toxic waste from the effect of industrialization. So in simple words, which would generally affect you know, the quality of air, the quality of water, even the quality of land that that we live on. So basically, that's what I see.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
One more, Mouhamadou.
One more, yeah. Go on.
So Chinayeri.
Yes, please. Okay, the environmental issues I can see. I can see some bit of oil spillage on the side of the globe that is not looking very good. So you find out that the tree, the part of the tree that is pictured there is not thriving. And then there's also smoke, gas emission from industrial waste. There's bio waste, and there's the smoke from the locomotive as well.
Okay.
Which of course has caused that part of the globe to not look as well as the green part where you don't have all this disruptions.
Yeah, thank you, Chinyere. Maybe one more and then we stop.
Okay, so who have we got? So so we've got Ezine. Let me ask you to unmute.
Yeah, one more. Unmute her. I think she's having some problems.
All right, so shall we try Chuni Diek?
Hello, good evening. Hello.
All right, Ezine is there, so let's let her speak then. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right. Basically, I can see that the globe is divided into two. On the left, and things there looking lively, while on the right, the things that are dead. This is basically what I can notice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Lady, thank you so much.
Probably move on now, Mouhamadou.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your thoughts. Now, if you look very quickly, you can see that we have moved from very easy questions to a most difficult one, which is now students share their thoughts about environmental issues, right? Now, Gary, we can move to the next slide where I will share with you some of the environmental issues from the pictures you just have in front of you. So here are the environmental issue that you can see from the pictures that I have just shared. Like you can have climate change, survival of species, energy crisis, natural resources exploitation, land degradation, land usage, nuclear issues, overcrowding, pollution, waste management. These are some of the environmental issues that can happen in the future. So now let's move to the next slide, which is going to be like very interesting because it's going to talk about now your students, what they will have to tell about the lessons. So here you can maybe make your lesson local. So you will ask them, the question is, what are the environmental issues in your area? Now your students are going to come from something general to something local, which is your area. Now you as teachers, can you share with me from Cote d'Ivoire, from Ethiopia, whatever country you are in, what are the environmental issues that you can see in your area? So the floor is yours.
So do you want speakers or do you want people to
to share? To share. Some will share in the chat group or some also will speak.
So shall we try Chini Diek? Because other people have already said something. So I'll ask Chini to unmute.
Hello. There are, yes, environmental issues I notice in my area. When I was growing up, we used to have some rivers that are flowing, full with water, but presently they seem drying up gradually, and then the temperature we used to experience before can be as cold as 28 degrees centigrade, but as warm, or will I say plus or minus, but presently we can go up to 32. And I see that as an environmental change caused by maybe some industries around that are causing the global warming. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chani. One more.
So Rose Garber, I'll ask you to unmute.
Hello, everyone. Some of the environmental changes that I notice from my country and from my own environment is the land pollution and the air pollution as well. Because where I come from, it's not very stable. So a lot of people, or let's say everyone, has to buy generator. So before you know, in the morning, can you hear me?
Yeah.
In the morning, on generators. In the afternoon, people put on their generators. In the evening, put on their generators. Before you know it, the air is so polluted, you can't breathe in good air. And we also have water pollution as well. That's waste management. They throw a lot of bottles. You'll see our sewages being blocked by nylons, bottles, a lot of things, you name it, that will not help our water flow very well. And that has caused serious damage and water pollution in our nation and in my own area, in my own environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The rest of the people, you might share your thoughts in the chat group. And if you look at the slides very well, you can see that we have taken different steps. And those different steps that we have taken, you can take the same steps to introduce environment in your classes. Now we're gonna make a pause because in the previous slide it was about sharing with the environmental issues. Now once that you show your students about what an environmental issue is, they can be able to tell you about an example of environmental issue in the area. So that was the purpose. Now we come to you as teachers because we need you to be prepared to introduce environment in your classes. Now that's why I have this question for you. Why, according to you, the need to talk about environment in class? So you think, and then after you share with us, why for you the need to talk about environment in class?
Again, you can put your responses into the chat, and we take a couple of people, different people. So OJ Jacks, I don't think they've spoken before.
No, not yet.
Would you like to say something about why we need to talk about environment in the class? Do you want to unmute yourself?
Good evening, all. I'm OJ Jack from Jos Plateau State, Nigeria. To me, the needs why we need to talk about environment change in our class is for the ones as they are growing to learn on how best to go about with the environment to avert some level of hazards and dangers, because the way the environment, the climate change is affecting, most that we are not thought about the environment now are just left unconcerned and uncontrolled. They don't know what to do. We're just looking at it as if it's a natural thing and nothing anyone can do about it. But if the class today is being taught about it, they will know how best to avert it and how best to manage it. That is what I think about underneath. Thank you.
Thank you so much, OJ. Thank you so much, OJ. One more and then we move.
Okay, so Chinyere, we've had you before, but if you've got something else to say, so I'll ask you to unmute.
Chinyere?
Yes, please. I'm speaking from Nigeria. Now, we need to teach the students about the environment in the English classes. If you look at Aikwe Ama's book, The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born, there's a particular place where he dealt on really describing the effect of filth on the environment in the country. And if we deploy that when we look at our literature and we look at literature and the environment, and it talks about blocking the drainages, we're actually informing the children that, look, when you block the drainages, that is what will cause the flood. We remember the flooding that happened in Ibadan at some point simply because the waterway was blocked and then the dam burst. And there was flooding in Ibadan that actually, the flooding actually caused the death of so many people. If we had talked about the environment as it concerns literature when we're teaching it in class, then the students, and at the time that they grow up and they go out into the bigger society, they would know that you should not block the waterways. You should not damage pipelines so that you can at least have access to your fish and the rest of the aquatic life, and that there shouldn't be gas flaring. So that's the reason why we should actually teach the environment, teach about the environment in English.
Thank you.
Of course, we can see that so many authors are already writing about literature and the environment, and we should use that as a standpoint to talk about the environment in the class.
All right. Thank you so much, Chinyere. All right, thank you guys. The rest you can share your thoughts in the chat group. Now that we know that there's a strong need to teach environment in the class, now as teachers, we're gonna see the things that we need to consider when we teach environment in class. So these are the reasons, some of the reasons that I have shared with you. Like there's an environmental crisis, students are getting more and more interested. You can notice that. Learners need to be prepared. They are the future, so they need to be prepared. I think that you agree with me, because English is a lingua franca. Yep, English is almost everyone is speaking English in the world, so it might be a chance for them to talk about environment. And the climate science enable environmental activism. So there are people, activists, and there will be a good way to spread the word. So these are some reasons why we know that there's a need to teach environment in class. Now that we know that environment is a need to be taught in class, now we're going to see things that we need to consider as teachers when we teach environment in class. So next slide is going to be a discussion. Gary, yeah. Now as teachers, since we know that there's a strong need to teach environment in class, now let's together consider, talk about the reasons, the things that we need to consider when we want to teach environment. So in this slide, I'll give you the floor. It will be discussion and sharing, so you can share your thoughts. You tell us just the reasons we need to consider as teachers when we are about to teach environment in class. Now that we know that there's a strong need to teach environment, so what are the things for you that we need to consider when we want to teach environment in class? What things do we need to consider as teachers?
Do you want people speaking about this as well as putting it in the chat? So we have a new person, Ayodeji, there. So I'll ask Ayodeji to unmute.
Yeah, Ayodeji, you can go.
So go ahead, Ayodeji.
Thank you so much. Ayodeji, like you've already mentioned, and I'm joining the call from Lagos State, Nigeria, and the question just to discuss this, right? It is because the context
I'm sorry, Ayodeji, we can't really hear what you're saying. We can't hear what you're saying. So
your network is not that good.
So sorry about that, Ayodeji. So
Zacharias is.
So let's try Zacharias, see if.
Okay. Thank you once again. I think, as Mohammed has said already, for our students to get into the concept of environment easily in the class while we teach, it's better always to begin with what they observed while they come to school. Start with the simplest thing is what they have seen in their environment on the way to school. What kind of issues were attracting or distracting their journey to the school, and that will take to the issues that we have been raising, and that will be a very good example and teaching aid for them to capture the whole concepts of the issues that we are trying to introduce. Because in my case, back in home, the traffic, that vehicles, the school buses, the roads that are coming, the way people are discharging their home garbage, and also the local the rivers, all these the trees that are being tried to be planted by the people, and also the other group of the society who are not caring those plants on the street. These all issues will take us to simplify the cases and to make them easily memorize and remember the concept of environment that we want to put in the mind of the kids, especially for the younger generations. Because we know a lively source of examples or lively source of evidences that we have in our environment. If we take, for example, in my country, we have the issues of drought in some part of the country that is affecting the lives of human and cattle. And at the same time, we have also the good starts that are being welcomed by the society. That is the Green Revolution program that the society is participating in planting of trees. And this will give them a sort of live example in my case, just to add that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you so much. I think we can take one more by Gary.
Okay, so shall we ask Lillian?
Lillian, you can go ahead.
I'm asking Lillian to unmute.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Lillian from Nigeria. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Can hear you, Lily.
Hello?
Hello, Lily.
Yes, based on what we're saying, I think it's necessary for us to teach environment in our class. Hello?
Hello.
Just keep going, Lillian. We can hear you.
Okay, I think it's very, very important for us to teach our environmental issues in our classes, most especially pollution. And I just feel it's very important while we're teaching these concepts. It's important to bring instructional materials and aid that will make it very, very visible for our students to see clearly. And at the end, we should now show them the effects of these environmental issues and what is the consequences if we fail to apply it to the very end.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. The rest, you can maybe share your thoughts in the chat group. So as I mentioned before, Gary showed the slide. As teachers, before we introduce environment issues in class, we need to consider some things for your strategies, for your lesson to be a success. We need to consider something, and these things are in front of you. You need to take into account the level, the age of your learners. If you want your lesson to be successful, you have to take into account the age. You also need to take into account the link the lesson, the environmental topic, to the curriculum. If you have a curriculum, you need to try to link the curriculum to the environmental topic for your lesson to be a success and for your student to be interested in what you're doing. And one other thing can be the role of English in school greening. So you might show the role of English in the school greening, so in the environment, local environment. Another one can be dealing with the knowledge of climate topics. So you can first talk about something, give them some vocabulary, some topics about climate for them to understand more and get prepared for your lesson. The other one is cross-curricular integration opportunities. So you need at least to be able to bring your things and then to link it to your curriculum and to go from one curriculum to another. This should be one strategy that you can adopt as a teacher. So this being considered, now you can be able to prepare your lesson and then for this to be successful. Gary, I think we can move to the next slide if you allow me. Yeah, the lesson plan itself, right? So this is a practical example. The theory is okay. We have gone through some strategies, some ways to adapt when you want to teach environment to your students. Now we come to the practical phase where we have a lesson plan that you can use as a teacher in your classroom. This is one example, so you can have many. And if you follow me in the beginning, it was a lesson, it was like I was talking about the climate crisis in school. But what I did is to bring them a kind of globe, a picture with some vocabulary words like earth or trees or whatever. And from these simple questions, I go to a more difficult question, which is what environmental issues can you see in the picture? So you do the same. If you have in your curriculum a lesson about food example, you can use that food lesson from your curriculum. And from that food lesson, you can bring environment in the topic. I don't think if you understand what I mean. So you don't need to change your curriculum because we know that each of us in Africa or anywhere in the world, you have a set curriculum that you need to follow. You don't need to change it. All you need to do is I will take one of the topic in my curriculum. I will use the topic in my lesson, but behind the topic, I will try to insert an environmental issue. That's what I have shown you in this lesson plan, where one of my objectives will be to teach food vocabulary to my students. This is one of the objectives. So you see, it's simpler. So I will show them a picture with food items. They will learn about new food vocabulary. And from that picture, from that food lesson, I will show them, I will insert environmental issues for them to understand that environment is linked to everything, as we said in the previous slide. So the stage one, don't forget to go from the simpler to the most difficult. In the first stage, I will just teach them food vocabulary. I would ask them a simple question like, what food can you see in the top, in the infographic, in the picture? And this will be very simple. They will start saying food vocabulary, food items from the picture I have shown them. And after this, after I'm sure that they know all the vocabulary that they needed. After that, I'm sure that they understand the food vocabulary I wanted to teach them. Now I can move a little bit to the environment. That's where the lesson about environment starts. Just to tell you that we cannot say that I don't have documents. I don't know how to insert environment in my class. Now this is the solution. Don't move, don't change your curriculum, don't change your topic. Just take a lesson, teach your lesson, and then behind the lesson, try to find a link to the environment. And then from that link, it will be a strategy for you to teach environment. So in this lesson, you will start by asking very simple question: what food can you see? Showing the infographic from the board if you have some materials, or from your phone or from your computer, or whatever device you have in the classroom. So they will start very communicatively telling you about things that they can see in the picture. Like here, at the first stage, you'll be teaching food vocabulary, bread, whatever they can see in the picture. And from that general question, and very easy one, you can then ask them question about environment. Since the lesson was about food items, so we all know that food can have some impact in the environment. So that's where now you insert environment in the lesson. So you see, from a simple lesson, you can have environment inside. So the next question that might be more difficult, because it might talk about environment and food. But remember, in the previous slide, we shared that if you want to teach a lesson, just bear in mind, take into account the level of your students. So you must be sure that my students can be able to deal with food at this stage of their school, because they are in a level where they can talk about food. Make sure that you know that, because this is one of the things that you need to consider before being able to use environment, because otherwise they might not be interested, or the level might be higher and you won't reach the objective. So this is very, very useful to consider. So if you are sure about that when you teach them food vocabulary, so I'm sure that this lesson can be taught junior school or high school, because they will be able to learn about food vocabulary. And from that food vocabulary, you can ask them very simple questions like, which food has the biggest impact on the environment? And this question, they will need maybe some minutes to prepare it. For sure, you might help as a teacher, but for sure, at the end of the activity, you will have awesome answers from your students. And you will see that, yeah, I was doubting that they can understand environment at this age, but yeah, they can, because I am a strategic teacher. I have used a strategic way for them to be able, from the easiest way to the most difficult, to be able to understand environment from very simple things that are food vocabulary. So this is one of the practical lesson plan that I have brought for you. But before I do it, I made sure that this lesson plan, this activity, my students at this age can do it. This is one of the things that you need to consider as a teacher, right? So this is one lesson about food. I think that we can move, or we can ask them to say if the lesson was difficult, or if they can adapt it to their classroom. But anyway, we can wait till the end. So this is a simple lesson plan that I have given to you. This is one more, a lesson on transport. The same way I used in the previous lesson. This is a practical one, and any one of you know that in your classroom, you can start by teaching very simple transport vocabulary or lesson to your students, and from that you can insert environment. And the same way, so you can start from the easiest to the most difficult. So here, these are pre-intermediate, so a little bit, in a higher level. So I have a picture of someone on a bicycle surrounded by cars. This is very simple, a picture that you can show on the screen if you have a projector, or even you can use your phone and share the image with them. So look at the picture, it's very simple. So you can start telling them, but what can you see in the picture? So they will give you the simplest thing that they can see in the picture: a man on a bicycle. How many cars are surrounding the guy? There was a picture. How many cars are surrounding the guy? They will give you the number of cars. They will give you a person, on riding a bike. So these are very simple things that for sure they can tell you. There's a man on a bicycle and 3 cars. This is very simple, you see. Now, after you made sure they understand, they know whatever is on the picture, now you can move to the next task, where now you can be sure that you can insert environment in the picture. Here are some questions that I also share for them, for the activities to be more communicative. Where do you think the person is going? Because our students, they can be able to guess questions that are not even in the picture. Where do you think this guy riding a bike is going? They say, he's going to school or he's going to work. Here the class will be lively, they will laugh, but you are sure to be teaching vocabulary about transport, and then after that you can be able to insert the environment. So as I told you at the beginning, there are some questions to be avoided because I told you, if you remember, there is no incorrect answers. If you say, what can you see in the picture? They can say, I see a boy. Another one can say, I see an older man. There's no incorrect answer. So the question to be avoided are very direct questions, like what are the causes and effects? This is very difficult. They cannot say that. So you have to be very clever, very smart, for them not to be very pressed, and then for them to open the questions where they can have a rank of questions for you to be able to reach your objectives, make the class lively, and get everyone to your objective, which is environment. Right. So one good question can be, instead of saying what are the causes and effect of the climate crisis, you sure that this question is difficult. Even you might have problem to answer it, but you can ask it in another way, like work in groups and rank different forms of transport on a scale, starting with good for the environment and ending with bad for the environment. So your students might know that in Nigeria, we have planes, we have cars, we have bicycles, whatever device is for transportation. So they can be able to rank those transportation device from the scale from those which are good for the environment to those which are bad for the environment. You see how you have brought your student from the lesson, your curriculum, lesson on transport, to the environment, which is rank these devices from those which are good for the environment to those which are bad for the environment. I think that this is not difficult. This is at the wish of every one of you, because you don't need no materials. You don't need to be a technician of climate change or environment. All you need is to understand your students, to be able to link your curriculum to the environment, to take into account the age of your students, and the rest might be easy. Because in this lesson, you won't need any difficult material, rather than an infographic, maybe, and then asking and answering questions with students. So these are 2 lesson plans, because I wanted to share with you something that might be practical for you, so that you might know. Because the problem has always been, I have a curriculum which is a fixed one. I have it for years. I cannot change my curriculum. That was the obstacle that we all have. Now, knowing that I don't need to change my curriculum. I don't need my state and my government to change my curriculum, but I'm able to take my curriculum, my topic, and be able to link it to the environment. This way, I will keep on talking about my curriculum, and at the same time, I'll be able to insert environment in my lesson. And this, you won't need to be a specialist. You won't need to have, good things about environment. Whatever you need is strategies. That's what we're sharing here. So the lesson is not finished. You have done the lesson in class. Now, to be more practical, because we're talking about environment, and we said, remember that we need to prepare our students for the future. So we need them to take actions. So after, doing the class, doing the things in class, they know about environment, they understand the lesson, they know what to do to help the environment survive. Now you have to take them to what we call the practice. You have to make them get ready for any environmental issue, being local or whatever. So this is what we are going through, which will be the class projects. Gary, the class projects. Yep. Do you have some minutes, Gary, for that, for people to say something about if they are able to plan a lesson, a simple lesson plan from the curriculum and link it to the environment? Do you think that we can take some minutes for them to share about that?
Yeah, you haven't got that long left, so probably not. Maybe
Okay,
if there's time at the end, people can do it, or they can talk about that on the Telegram group, perhaps. Got about 10 minutes left, so let's see where we get to.
Yeah, let me finish down this one. So this is the end of the class, and I'm a teacher. I have taught them a simple lesson plan. I have inserted environmental issues in my lesson plan. Now what I need to now is for them to go beyond, meaning to take actions. That's why I have prepared class projects. One of the class projects will be like for the first one, go to your local market and select the food, because the first lesson was about food, right? Select the food we need to get rid of or limit the use of because they have a bad impact on the environment. See, this is very simple, right? So after knowing any vocabulary about food, so tell them to go to the local market and observe every food, they can see over there, and then tell them to select the food we need to get rid of or limit the use because they have a bad impact on the environment. So the next class, your student will come with their project ready and will give you awesome answers, awesome project about the different foods that we need to get rid of or we need to remove from the market. And this for sure, any student can do it if you prepare them well to that. So this will be linked to the lesson about food and environment. So the second one, remember we talked about transport. Anyway, so you can prepare a project about transport. Tell them to take a walk in the streets of their place next to their high school or school, and propose environmental friendly means of transport we need to use to protect environment. Since we talked about bicycles, vehicles, or whatever, tell them to think about very environment friendly that cannot damage environment that we can use, and tell them to come up with those devices, those transportation means, and then tell them to give a detailed commentary why they think this device can be good for the environment and we need to take this. So you see that this is the second project that is linked to the lesson about transportation. So you see that this is very simple as a lesson, and this lesson is in your curriculum because it's in my curriculum in Senegal. You can talk about the theme of transport or food, and at the same time you can link it to the environment. This way, your student might be prepared for the future, and they can take action being in the school or outside the school for them to be able to know that they're ready to be people of the future, and then to take actions to limit the damage of things on the environment. So these are the two practical projects that I prepared for you. Now, I think we are going to have a discussion. This will be the next slide, the last one, where I will share my thoughts, my experience, or an anecdote about me and environment. And I'll also give you the floor for you to tell me about you and environment, and then the thing will be done. So, okay, so yeah, see the local context, yeah. Before you answer the question, because this will be the opening of the discussion, I will share my experience, my journey through environment. I'm going to share with you the reason why I love teaching environment. It started from, as I told you at the beginning, around 2005, because that's the year I started teaching. It was in a region called Matam, in a town called Chilogne. It was it's in the north of Senegal. It's a very dry place and very hot sometimes in the year. And the problem we had at school was we had buildings. Gary, I shared with you some pictures of my former school. It's in your WhatsApp, I think. The problem we had was it was very hot, and students, when they get out from the class, like during the break time or in the afternoon, the problem they had was where to sit to be able at least to have some shadow, because it was extremely hot. So as school stakeholders, school teachers and administration, we had a very dynamic headmaster. I sent you the picture. And he thought about how are we going to make the environment of the school very friendly with trees for the students, at least when they don't have class or they are on break, to be able to sit somewhere and have some shadow and wait for the next class. So we sort of tree planting. We planted trees all around the school, in front of buildings, in front of the administration, and everywhere in the school, because the school was very big, very wide. So we had places. And we planted trees. Unfortunately, before I left, some of them were like 2 meters long. At least, you know, we could at least sit we could sit in front of those trees, under those trees, to have tea or chat or do whatever. And right now, the picture I sent to Gary will share his screen later on. And in the picture, those trees are right now very old, very big. They are you know, giving shadow in front of the classes, in front of the administration, and around the schools. Now, students, when they are on break, they can sit in front of the building, be able to have breakfast over there, or even can sit there waiting for the next class. So these are some projects that any one of us can do in his schools. And when I came here in the place where I'm teaching right now, I did the same, because like last year we started as the English club, because we have a club over there. So I thought with my students as a kind of, you know, community service to do something that might be very good for the school. So we thought about, because since the school was really wide and then they have problem, we didn't have many trees. We sort of a tree planting too. So what we did is we tried to find some trees, and then we planted trees all over the school. And one problem you can have when you do that is you can plant, it's okay, but the thing is, after the planting, will there be people to water the plant, you know, on a daily basis? That was a problem. So what we did to find a solution for that was we assigned a name to every tree. So suppose I'm Mouhamadou, I had my tree. This tree is named Mouhamadou. So that's my tree. So every morning or every afternoon, I will have to water Mouhamadou for Mouhamadou to survive and grow up. So that's what we did, and hopefully it succeeded. And most of them, maybe some died, unfortunately. Most of them grew up, and now they are big trees where people can sit, and it's very beautiful when you have that green environment all around you. So just to say that it doesn't cost money, and everyone can do it, and it will save the environment. And yeah, that's good. So this will allow me to go to the last question. I have shared with you some 2 projects. So can you share with us relevant project that will suit your local context? Because this is my context in Senegal, in Saint Louis. So you in Nigeria, in Cote d'Ivoire, whatever country you are, can you think of relevant topics, project that will suit your environment? Yeah, the floor is yours. Gary, can you show the picture I share with you?
Yeah, I don't have these pictures. I don't think we can share them on the Telegram group.
Yeah, it's in your WhatsApp.
It's in my WhatsApp, so I'll have to transfer them out to Telegram. I can I could share my WhatsApp, but
yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah, so the floor is yours, guys. If you have any project that would be relevant and suitable to your context, so you're welcome.
Yeah, I think we're kind of running out of time, really, and maybe they can share.
Yeah, in the chat group.
Yeah, in the Telegram group. So you're not in the Telegram. Several people are not in the Telegram group. Steve, if you're there, can you share the link so people can join the Telegram group? There you go. He's ahead of me already.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just shared the link.
He read my mind.
Yes, absolutely. I have a, I have a barrel like that shows everything. A bubble that shows everything. So yeah, so I just shared the link to the Telegram group. So we invite you all to join the Telegram group. To sort of follow up with the discussion and the great initiatives that actually Mouhamadou is currently doing in his school. And we can learn from each other and really, sort of start other initiatives, other class projects that are, environmental, related. Thank you.
Yeah, and there is a competition as well. So, if if you join in to the course, the British Council course, and you actually begin like Mouhamadou did, set up some practice in his teaching, you can report that back, and I think there are prizes. Is that right, Steve?
Yes, absolutely. We have prizes. We have one ongoing course that started yesterday. Actually, it is called Climate Action in Language Education. So you can find out more about the course on the Teaching English website. I'm going to share the link now with you, and you have some of the rules to sort of, you know, basically once you join the course, you'll be actually receiving some communications about, you know, how to be eligible for the prizes, and we have prizes of up to £500 worth of CPD training for you to take over.
Yeah. So that's quite a, you know, quite an incentive to do that. So, I mean, so please, if people are not members of the group and they want to join, so that's a Telegram group where there's also this particular course, and then on Monday we'll be doing some follow-up, and either Mouhamadou, you can post pictures on the Telegram group, or I'll post them for him. And hopefully you can come along on Monday, and we can carry on. So thank you everybody for coming today. We're kind of out of time, really. Thanks very much to Mouhamadou for sharing his experiences and his lessons and some background. And hopefully you've got yet more ideas to go away and play with. If you're part of the Telegram group, I also shared some materials from Cambridge University Press that somehow are similar. So these are kind of activities that you can embed within your teaching in the same sort of way that Mouhamadou suggested. And there are lots of materials on the British Council website within this topic area. So, Steve, somebody's saying that the form is currently not accepting responses. So maybe we shouldn't close down yet, so that people got a chance to sort of fill that in.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, British Council, and thank you all for attending. I hope, you know, it was useful to you. Thank you so much, and see you maybe next. All right.